And then, oh God, I know last time we had a little cock up with that.
You're live.
Okay, we're live. So I'm going to throw us out again so we don't hear the echo. Wonderful. I think this time that worked way better than last time. So hello, welcome to the Eric and Lizz show. Hello, Lizz.
Hello, Eric. How are you? How's it going?
Very well, very well. And
Good.
well, you look good. I love that outfit. I mean, love, literally love.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is this one of your dresses you actually made?
Actually, this is just one of those wraparound tops, but it's one of my necklaces from the Love collection. I do a series of Love collection pieces that are all custom, and they have, you know, the necklace part and, you know, love. That's what we need today. We need love. So that's why, yes, we need love.
Do. And you know, I love to advertise you, and I just want to talk about that, you know, just for a little bit, because we have a little time before we have our guests coming in.
Oh, thank you.
And well, we met roughly 20 years ago, and that was actually during a fashion show at the Westgate Hotel.
Yes, that was my first fashion show there. Yeah, and it sold out. That was cool. It was really nice.
We love that. Don't we love that? And I think you're planning actually also a fall show. I know it's not 100% sure yet, but you're working on it, aren't you?
Right. I'm actually scheduled for August the 21st, but I'm not sure yet. You know, I'm still waiting to hear back to make sure that, you know, it's a go. So, you know, because it is my 10th anniversary. So we really want to do it up, you know, really big and, you know, have a lot of people. So, and I'm very, you know, cautious about, you know, how many people.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand.
Right about now.
It's one of those. Well, anyhow, I'm very glad, you know, to have met you then.
Yes, and, me too.
That you did me the honor actually to be with me, you know, on the show. It was something that was very dear to me, and I couldn't think of a better co-host than you.
Well, you know, I really appreciate that because, you know, you and I, we have been planning this show for quite some time. This wasn't you know, an overnight thing. We've been planning this since September. So, and I was honored that you asked me. And this is something new for me, you know, talk show host Lizz Russell.
Well, hey, it sounds good. You know, it's like fashion designer Lizz Russell.
Yes.
And, you know, when you think, you know, it's razzle dazzle, actually, you know, I'm going to get actually our guests in so that they don't feel lonely in the waiting room.
All right.
God, I love this. You know, this is just great. And we're going to have actually who is already going to join us now is Antoinette Love Ranson, then Wendy Roberts, and Carla Sanchez.
All right. Hey, and Antoinette.
I'm very, very happy, you know, to welcome you, my ladies. Oh my God, you know, I feel so
You're surrounded by beauty. Yes.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for taking really the time out of your day, you know, to join us here on the show. And with no further ado, actually, I just wanted to hand it to you, Lizz, you know, that you are actually introducing Antoinette.
All right. So hello again, Antoinette.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Oh, it's going great. So I want to introduce my friend, Antoinette Love Ransom. She is a brand influencer and a CBS Hollywood Correspondent. She does many things and she's fabulous and she is just very talented. So tell
Aw.
us a little bit about yourself, Antoinette.
Well, first off, Liz, thanks for having me. You're so sweet. I love you. You're always thinking about me.
Oh, that's cool. You're thinking about me too.
But what I am, I'm a freelance Hollywood correspondent. I correspond usually for CBS. I do award shows and red carpet events. But since the pandemic, I'm not interviewing celebrities face to face anymore. So, and I still do brand influencing. So those of you that don't know, brand influencing is different than brand ambassador. Brand ambassador means that you're signed on with a company, you're promoting that company, and that's it, and they pay you a flat fee. Usually brand ambassadors are like $25, $30 an hour. I'm a brand influencer. So a company will pay me anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 just to do a few social media posts, and then that's the end of my contract. And I kind of like brand influencing better because it pays better, it's short term, and I can keep it moving along with other clients. So that's what I'm doing now, in addition to working on a reality show. So yeah.
All right. Well, Antoinette, since, we know that you have something, some wonderful news to talk about. Since the pandemic, how has that affected your upcoming show? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. For those of you that don't know, I was doing a reality show for the OWN network. And it was a reality show. I can't tell you the title, but it was 5 strong, opinionated Black women. We're all over the age of 40, and we're going through some transition in our life. So each one of us are uniquely different, but we have a lot in common. So that's what the show's about. It's supposed to be uplifting, positive, and it's supposed to inspire people. And that's why the OWN network was so interested in it right off the bat, But we got into 2 episodes, we taped 2 episodes, and then the pandemic hit. And I got a call from producers on March 11th, March 12th. And they says, sorry to tell you this, Antoinette, but we have to stop production because we think we're going to be quarantined. Like the studios, Paramount, Warner Brothers, OWN network, everybody knew about the quarantine way before the public did. So they were getting emails about quarantine around February, the end of February.
Okay.
So yeah. So then actually we started quarantine, what is the end of March? Was it March 24th or something like that?
Right, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but we stopped production because of the pandemic. And I'm praying when production picks up, we go back and we picked up where we left off, because they cancel shows all over the place. I mean, our show could be canceled. You just never know. Right. So I'm praying. But yeah, that's what the reality show's about. And that's what I'm hoping will pick up after we get the green light.
Right, exactly. So, go ahead, Eric.
No, I just want to say, no, that's very impressive. And, people have adapted so much, to the circumstances. It's like us, we had our studio planned out, everything, we were ready to go. And then suddenly Zoom came along, which on our end actually opened up a totally new possibility. And yes, frankly, personally, I like that format very much. Even that, yeah, okay, it looks like the Brady Bunch, but it's neat. It's really neat. So I'm like, oh, sorry to say, but did you read the small print at the very end of your show introduction? Because you had to get your favorite beverage.
I should have got me a glass of champagne.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Well, after all, we want to enjoy this, and we know it's hard for everybody. But the Grammys are coming soon.
Yes.
Right.
And you're going to be on the red carpet.
Well, no, I'm not going to be on the red carpet. They're only going to have some of the bigger networks on the red carpet. Usually there's hundreds of media and paparazzi and Hollywood correspondents like myself, but they're going to have maybe 10, maybe 10. And they're using the biggest networks around the world. They're not going to have like small little networks or anything because of the pandemic. So yeah, they're cutting it down. Like my interviewing days are over for the next year and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I have another question for you, Antoinette. How did you actually get into being a Hollywood correspondent? How did that work for you? How did you get into that? I want to know a little bit about that.
Well, I know 2 years ago, I think Liz, you and I spoke about this, about me having my own talk show. And then I was meeting with different networks and I was saying, how do I get my own talk show? Like, you know, because I get inspired by Oprah and everybody else that's doing things on talk shows. And they says, well, Antoinette, first of all, you're not a celebrity. And the second of all, you need to build your social media, because at the time I didn't have anybody on social media. I had like 600 followers versus the 13,000 I have right now. And they said, you're not even on social media. You don't have the numbers. You don't have the following. Why would a network invest in you, even if you do have a great idea, right? So I said, okay, this is 2 years ago, right after I had my son. I said, I got some work to do. So then I got the idea of start partnering and becoming brand influencers with companies and get more exposure, build my social media so the network could see that. Then right before the reality show, they were like, okay, she's out there, she's killing it. She's doing her work. She's doing what she's supposed to. She's ready. So, and I still got a lot of work to do. As you know, Liz, I've been interviewing celebrities and doing everything to kind of get myself out there. But I'm glad they did that, because now looking back 2 years ago, I really wasn't ready, but now I'm ready. I wasn't ready for a talk show then, but now I am, because I have better camera presence. I know how to speak. I don't get nervous in front of celebrities. It's different. Like, I can't explain it. It's just the confidence I have now. So now I'm ready. 2 years ago, they were right. I wasn't ready. So I'm ready now.
All right, definitely you are.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
Ready.
Yes. So could you tell us just a little bit about some of your sponsorships that you've had in the past that have, you know, brought you to where you are now?
I would have to give a lot of thanks to Starbucks and Macy's. And they were the biggest ones that came on board. And they knew I didn't have the following, but they still believed in my talent. They were like, okay, this girl's persistent. She's photogenic. She has a look. I like the way she promotes our products. So they jumped on board and they kept contacting me. Like, Antoinette, here, do this. So I had to give a big thanks to them, in addition to Mars Parachutes, which is a drone company. I don't know if you guys heard of Mars Parachutes, but they have all these big drones. They have drones big enough to transport a body. It's these big industrial drones. So I have to give a big thanks to Mars Parachutes, because they sponsored all my red carpets, like thousands of dollars that I couldn't afford. They did it. So thanks to them. And I'm missing a ton of people, Mac Makeup, Nordstrom's. I just signed a contract with Nordstrom's right before the pandemic to be their new brand influencer. And then they contacted me and told me we'll have to like wait 6 months to a year. So Nordstrom's, and there's a furniture place called Our House. I don't know if you guys know who that is, Our House. Really elite furniture place. UTC Shopping Center has been a big one. They've been in La Jolla. They've been a big supporter of what I do. So, and it's little brands in between. I'll get grocery stores, cookie companies. I'll get all kind of people that contact me and say, hey, Antoinette, can you promote our products? But the biggest one was Starbucks and Macy's that really opened doors for me.
Okay, I know you make it look so easy, but I know personally that you work very, very hard at what you do. You work very hard at what you do.
And tell them all, you know, to watch your interview here on our channel, you know, and to subscribe. You know,
for sure.
Let's multiply it. You know,
yes.
I mean, we are all kind of new to this. I mean, because, you know, especially me, but it's like we're in an age group where things have changed on us in the past, you know, 5-6 years.
Right.
The media has just changed.
Yes.
It's not the same. And I know that some people, you know, just don't stay on top of it. You know, they're just like, oh God, what's happening? I mean, I haven't had TV in I don't know how many years. I started streaming like 10 years ago, when nobody actually started even looking. You know, I had one of the first really big square Roku boxes. And people were like, what is he doing? What is he doing? But suddenly I was paying, you know, $120 less per month. And I think that just now people are starting to realize what's happening. And I know the big networks are pretty impacted.
Yes.
And when you see, like, you know, Disney jumping on the bandwagon and everything, I mean, it's just changing.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a new normal, basically, the new normal.
Right. It is. And for a lot of people that at first they weren't, you know, online or anything, but like you said, this is definitely the new norm. We're all having to get used to this, and this is new for, a lot of people. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
So what do you think the future of, just a little bit about, your opinion on the future of Hollywood with different events? How are they going to do that? Being more
Well,
specific.
I think it's going to be tough, Liz, because I think they're going to need something to monitor. I don't know if they're going to do this, but they're going to need something to monitor people's temperature before the production studios open. They're going to have to make sure all actors and actresses got a COVID-19 test. They're going to have to be on top of it, and that's hard, but production, they have to get back to production because they're losing millions of dollars every day. So they got to get up and working and getting stuff back on TV. It's just the way it is. But I think the only way they can do this safely is either people just wear masks, or the people get tested and send their test to the production houses and say, hey, I got tested, I'm negative. That way they feel safe coming on set. I don't know. I just feel so bad because Hollywood is not going to be the same for a while. It's just not.
It really does.
Nobody's going to want to do intimate scenes. Nobody. No kissing scenes, no intimate scenes, nothing, because they're going to be nervous, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to be different.
And it's going to change. There's a lot of people who are compassionate about what they do, but I think this pandemic has made a lot of people possibly change careers or change their mind,
Yes.
But you just really have to, stay focused and keep your eye on the prize, and, knowing that this too shall pass.
It will.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I feel like I wish I had a essential trade just in my back pocket. Like, like all these essential workers that are still working. I wish I had an essential trade in my back pocket. But you know me, I've always been in the creative entertainment industry. That's just who I am.
Right.
Oh gosh. Well, with that, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And please, you're so welcome, to stay on the show to the end if you feel like it. We have an open mic session, and I'm sure some questions are always coming up during the show. And I like this interacting actually between us, the host, and the guests asking themselves. So, but I know everybody has a busy schedule. So, we won't be upset if you leave, but it's nice if you stay.
Sure.
And just quickly, I'm doing my self-serving thing as I introduce the wine of the week, which is somewhere in the back here. It's always like kind of funny. I'm still not 100% there. Yeah, we're sharing. Wonderful. And here we have wine.com, which I hope, one of these days is coming in as one of our sponsors, because we always give them, that shout out. And we have actually, I have Pinot Noir from Marlborough. Marlborough is usually, in New Zealand, is usually known for its Sauvignon Blancs. But for Pinot Noir lovers, and it's something I followed the past 2 decades, really. Pinot Noir lovers, they just think they are the best wines in the world. I mean, yes, they are good. Don't get me wrong, yes, they are good. But this one is from New Zealand, and I have to say made it on the top of my list. And if you want to order it, wine.com. And well, right now it's going at $19.99, so not too bad. So we're going from a pretty nice entertainment standpoint of view now to something a little more dry, Wendy. Wendy and I, we met actually at a brokerage training. We were both there, learning to do appraisal, going through the things, and that's where I learned, that she was one of the big players in the SBA market, which right now is pretty hot, as I understand. But maybe you explain actually our viewers, and especially people which want to start a business, what your business is all about.
Sure. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for being on the show, both Eric and Liz. Thank you for the honor.
All
And I
right.
loved hearing the story about you. That's so awesome, Antoinette. That's lovely. Good for you. Success. We like women's stories, success stories. So I'll try to make this not dry, Eric. So, you know, financing can be a fun arena. Right now, we've had some wonderful opportunities with companies going through the COVID, obviously. There, you've heard about the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, and you've heard about the EIDL program, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. But there's some other programs out there that are very, very good for consumers and for business owners. So one of those is what I've been asked to speak about today is the SBA loans. And we have what's called a 7A and a 504 and a microloan. So the 7A is for business acquisitions, working capital, and potentially real estate. And the 504s are for real estate. Now, what's interesting about this, because of the CARES Act, never in my career, and I've been doing it a few years, I'm not going to say how many, but you can probably see the gray hairs now since I can't get a haircut. And, you know, some highlights there. I've got 4 colors instead of 3. But it is actually wonderful. I've never seen this in the industry, that the government will actually make 6 months payments for you if you get a loan by September 27th. So I want to let that sink in for just a minute.
Well, that's really around the corner. But just to clarify again about, you know, the 2 types of SBAs you talked about. So really it's about business acquisition.
It can be business acquisition. It also can be real estate acquisition. For example, you might want to buy a company that has real estate. So you can use the real estate, buy the real estate through what we call the 504 program, which is a little bit lower interest rates. It's somewhere in the 4s now, give or take. And it can be up to 30 years, or you can buy a business under a 7A, which is a little bit higher interest rate, and the terms can be 7 to 10 years, or if you buy real estate with that, it can be up to 25 years. So it really kind of depends. I know it's a little confusing. It really kind of depends on the lender that you're working with. But there are lenders out there that are direct SBA lenders, and they offer 7A. The 504s goes through what we call a CDC, which is a consolidator. So a little complicated. But if I would say for those people who want to know all of the specifics, you know, get a little bit more down in depth, please call me and I'll be able to explain it a little bit more. Because it is a little complicated. The requirements are a little bit different into what documentation you need to submit for the different types of loans that are out there.
So let me abstract that, or trying to abstract that. So instead of going and opening your own restaurant, it would be basically wiser to buy an existing restaurant, get the SBA, and then transform it to your liking.
True. But I will say there's a caveat. Now you're asking me to come in as a CPA and the consultant that I also do.
No, really?
Of course, you know me because I was a CFO as well. So here's the thing. If you can buy a business that is appropriately priced from a market standpoint, a market value, then it might make sense to go and acquire that company because it already has the history. A lot of banks like to see that history then from a startup. So if there's a history of profitability where it's actually growing, you're buying into that profitability and it's priced right, then that might be the reason to do a business acquisition loan like a 7A. However, if you're starting up from scratch, it might be more advantageous to you instead of trying to rebuild a brand, to start a brand like we have our brand specialist here on the call here. It might be better to start it from scratch and do a 7A loan with a working capital or startup loan.
Liz, you see,
Yes.
that's what you need.
Exactly. So,
I mean, go ahead, Liz.
oh no, I was just going to ask her one of the questions. She pretty much answered it. Some of the different documentations that you would need to be able to qualify.
Mhm. Yeah, great
Yes.
question.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're buying an existing company, the lenders like to see at least 3 years of financials or tax returns, and then of course the current year. You'll need a what we call a personal financial statement. So that's so they can judge, your wherewithal. If you're not able to make the payments through the company, you might have to personally guarantee it. The government likes to ask for personal guarantees. The way it works is that you might have to put a small down payment for a 7A, let's say 20%. Let's say $100,000, right? Might have to be required to put down 20%. Then the bank and the SBA split the difference. So the SBA is actually taking more of the risk. 60% of that 80% is the SBA. The rest of it is the bank. So the SBA usually asks you to do a guarantee in order to be able to make sure you got skin in the game. So that's why they require that. So of course, you're going to need your FICO score, and there might be some other other documentation that the lender would need. But all of that gets pulled together. We pull that together at what we call a loan package, and then we submit it to the lender, and then it goes into underwriting for approval. So it usually takes about 45 to 60 days to get an SBA loan on average.
So how have you seen it, playing out right now, during this pandemic?
Actually, I will say the PPP program probably slowed it up a little bit earlier in the game when it came out, but we're actually still seeing lenders doing 7A loans, especially around real estate. It's still pretty vibrant. There's still some market out there for funding. So it's not completely dead. So it is out there. There's obviously, unfortunately, there's going to be businesses that are not going to survive. And so the SBA is making it a little bit easier to go in and keep those businesses through an acquisition, perhaps, so that we can keep people still employed. The government wants us to be working. They don't want us on unemployment.
Yeah, we can understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do have to say that overall the government has actually reacted relatively fast.
Yeah.
And something really weird came up in a discussion just recently, because we are always talking about right, left, whatever, and whatever your preferences are. But guess what? Here we are with a relatively Republican government, which did something actually very democratic, or some people would even say socialistic, the big S word. And I had to laugh about that because, why not owning a little socialism? No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's cute. Well, I would say, dare you say socialism, right? I think we all even in our economy, we still have a little bit of that, right? No matter if you want to term it socialism or managed programs, but our society is out there. It works, right? We have a system that works. So I think what's really important, though, for you and for all of your viewers to know is their money is out there. If they're having trouble getting the PPP, there are other sources. And there's obviously an opportunity for people to take advantage of it now, even though we're coming out of a pandemic.
Yeah. And for the viewers to say, we have all your information of all of you, on the show page, on YouTube, when you go there with your websites. And I really, just say to our viewers, feel free to contact them, because, every one of you is really a specialist, and, what you do. I mean, I wouldn't mind, if Antoinette would represent me as an up and coming star. But first, Liz, ladies first.
Well, I think she'd do an awesome job at it. Well, again, thank you for the opportunity. And if there's anything that I can do for anyone, please reach out. We give free consultation to get people in the right direction. That's our objective, is to help the small business owner succeed.
Yep.
Okay.
And
I'm definitely going to be in touch. I'm going to be updating my business plan. I know that has a lot to do with whether, you get the money or not.
Yeah.
Your business plan has to be really tight. So do you guys offer services to assist small businesses with?
We have consulting services. It's through a different company called North Star Strategic Partners, but we offer various types of services, including CFO financial services, as well as marketing, HR, and operational services. Mm-hmm.
I tell you, Wendy is covering it.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome, Wendy. And from there, if we went through Antoinette, from Wendy, and everything is going to Fritz, then we have Carla to get us out of our social embarrassment.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Well said.
Yes, please.
All right, Carla. So today we have also joining us is Carla Sanchez. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist. Let's see, Reiki Master teacher.
Yeah.
So you have a full plate.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear a little bit about you. So what drove you to your work, both as a therapist and an energy healer? And you could also tell a little bit about yourself.
For sure. Yeah. So first of all, thank you for inviting me, Eric and Liz. I appreciate you thinking about me. I am a licensed therapist in Mexico. I have an undergrad. I graduated in 2008. And so the education in Mexico is a little bit different than in the States. So as soon as I graduated as an undergrad, I became a licensed therapist. So from 2008 until I joined my cohort for the MFT program, I practiced in Tijuana, or also known as TJ. And I had clients and I participated in different private practices. And then once I graduated in 2016 or so, I started practicing on this side of the border. So I do have a background in working with families in the juvenile court system, working with victims of human trafficking, sexual exploitation, and I am currently working with victims of sexual assault and intimate partner violence. So pretty heavy stuff. I've been in the field for quite some time. And in all honesty, I stumbled upon psychology just by accident. I wanted a career that didn't involve math. I for psychology, and I was like, that sounds like a good one. And as soon as I started my own therapy healing, I fell in love with it. I became just so infatuated with the fact that we can heal ourselves. There's people out there that can help us overcome so many difficulties, that I could become that person for a client. I just invested in my well-being for such a long time that I eventually was able to give back to the community as a professional clinician. And as I was going through that process, I want to say that it was when I started working with victims of human trafficking that I came across Reiki, that I started realizing the importance of addressing a human being as a mind, body, and soul entity. So holistic approach was automatically my thing. I started getting Reiki myself, and I started getting more invested in it and more curious about it, and I learned more about energy. Then I started noticing how many times my own clients would bring that up, talking about how they might be attracting, stuff, or the universe or energy or vibes from people. And I was able to utilize that with my clients when they were open to it. And I saw the power of both therapy and Reiki, and I'm in love with it. Like, I just want to work with everyone for anything related well-being and mental health and holistic approaches. And yeah, that's how I started it, and I love it. Yeah.
So Carla, sorry
Sure.
to interrupt.
You're good.
I'm a total novice here.
Okay.
It's really the first time I heard about Reiki when I read your bio, and I was like,
What is that?
well, and especially there's that one picture, where you have something like a tambourine and looks
Yeah.
like,
A drum.
reading it, and I was just starting all those pictures with native Indians running around and doing the dance. And sorry, I mean, that sounds very naive, but
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
so I was just, what exactly is it?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. So Reiki is a Japanese word that stands for universal energy. So the theory behind this is that everyone and everything in this universe, in this world, has energy with them. Our bodies, our mind, the objects around us, the plants, everything around us carry energy from our ancestors, from our thoughts, our feelings. And so when I learned about Reiki, the thing that stood out the most was the fact that we ourselves can heal our energy with ourselves, with our own energy, with our own thoughts, with our own intention. And so when I use this, I try to always teach my clients that you on your own can heal yourself, because you and your body and your mind, you are energy. And you can create so many things with your thoughts, with your intention. And when you put that out there, when you send people, good vibes when you have this test, or I wish you well, that's energy, right? So we're always trying to put out there positive things for the universe, so that eventually it also comes back to us. So we can do that with our mental health. We can do that with our emotional health. We can do that with our physical health. And Reiki is one of the many ways to utilize energy healing for well-being. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, I'm just, like I said, I'm totally novice to Reiki. Do I say that right? Reiki.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Reiki.
Reiki.
And on top of that, you're actually a Reiki Master.
Yeah.
So that is that in any way comparable to being a yogi?
No, yogi is more related to yoga. Reiki, and yes,
No, I meant in the level of, mastering.
So let me explain. So when you go through a Reiki training, there's different levels. So when you start with Reiki 1, you learn about the energy and how to use it on yourself. When you use Reiki, when you are trained in Reiki 2 and 3, you learn how to use it with other people, where the chakras in your body are at. And I guess that's one thing that I missed explaining on Reiki. So the Reiki focuses on the different portals of your body, chakras we call them, of energy portals that live within your body that flow at a certain speed when you're balanced. When you're out of balance, some of them go faster, some of them go slower. And so what Reiki does is cleanse that energy, that bad energy or negative energy, and balances the chakra so you feel more balanced and more aligned. And you release some of that heaviness, either emotionally, physically, or mentally. Mm-hmm. And so on your Reiki level 2 and 3, you learn how to use that with others and also at a distance. You can also have remote healing sessions with clients. And a Reiki Master training allows you to teach others. You have completed all the steps to teach others and do the attunement, which is also opening the portals of energy for people to use with their students as well. I don't know if that makes sense, if I'm explaining.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. People you know, turn off now, I think, to spiritual healing,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I, yeah, I understand the kind. It's very,
Yeah.
very interesting, and it gives
Yeah.
an alternative,
Right.
to maybe first trying that before
Right.
I go to Western medicine, because it's maybe, um, you know, more chemical imbalance related,
Right.
if I may
Yeah,
say.
and Reiki has become very popular, if you want to call it, in hospitals with cancer patients. So it helps with chronic pain, it helps with releasing energy, like I mentioned, it helps with just relaxation and mindfulness. And so it's being slowly integrated into medical approaches as a, like you said, alternative or holistic way of healing. So it's slowly getting there. Not a lot of people. You're not the only one that's never heard about it. So it's slowly getting there. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. How long does it vary? How long are the sessions? How long do they go? And do you
Reiki?
mind me asking, the Reiki sessions, do you mind me asking, like, what type of tools are used, or are there oils or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So for me, I always present it as a 60-minute session, but it's hardly 60 minutes. What happens is my way of working is I will sit with a client and I would assume that we've already spoken either on the phone or via text of why or what kind of drove you to seek Reiki, right? Just to get an idea, either just releasing or feeling out of whack, whatever the reason is. And so what we do is, we come into session, we check in, I provide a little bit of information about the chakras, or I have had clients just like Eric say, I just heard about it and I just want to try it. So I explain a little bit about it. Then I have a massage table where clients will lay down. It's not a massage, so you don't need to take off your clothes or anything. If you want to take off your shoes, that's fine. And what I use either sage or palo santo to clear and cleanse the space. And then I use oils for relaxation or healing purposes as well. So essential oils have a very healing, they're very potent when it comes to emotional healing. So I use that as well. And so what I do is I have the clients relax as much as possible and pay attention to either the emotions or the sensations they're experiencing in your body. And I try to move around in their body intuitively. So I usually start in the head and I try to go on their right and going down towards their feet and then coming back, right? Kind of like a circle. And I will spend more time on the parts of the body that I feel need cleansing the most. So I do consider myself an empath. So a lot of the times I will tap into, what you're feeling, what you're sensing. I've had beautiful experiences with past loved ones as well. So people that pass away. So I have been able to deliver messages, and almost my feedback is very focused on your well-being. So thinking, I thought about a word or an image of, are you having issues with your mom, or are you, neglecting your relationship with your dad, or how are you feeling on your hips? And, depending on the parts of your body and in my knowledge of bioenergetics or just information that I might be channeling, I check in with the client afterwards. So it usually does take like about 30 to 45 minutes. I do that, and then I wrap up, I close my session, and we sit down and I give information, what I tapped into, what I sensed. And once that happens, I like to go first, just so that I think it's more credible, as opposed to you telling me what you felt and then I'd be like, oh yeah, I received that too. Right. I feel more comfortable when I say, let me speak first, and then you can confirm if it's true or not, or if it's something that you can relate to or identify with. And it's a wonderful experience, and it's even more beautiful to me when past loved ones visit and they deliver messages. It's, other tools that I use is I always try to tap into my own ancestors and my own spiritual beings that I know are with me, guiding me in the session. And, again, using Palo Santo, essential oils. I love cards. I don't know if you can see them. I have a few decks in the back that I use as tools, and it's not tarot. I'm not gonna tell you what's gonna happen in the future, but it's more of a tool of, words that might come up or messages that you actually pick the card and, it comes out and it tells you need to work on communication or you need to work on boundaries. So yeah, those are the tools that I use. And I get passionate about it, so if I'm taking too long, please.
Right, that's okay.
That's okay.
But wouldn't you all agree? I think that's a gift. That's a gift that she has. I believe that's a gift.
It's a gift that everyone has, to be honest. I think it's just, we're in society raised to only believe what we're thinking and only trust evidence-based practices, right? And so, or the medical approach. And we're spiritual human beings having a physical experience. And at least that's my 2 cents about being a human being, right? And so I think that we all have an intuition and we all have a spiritual gift and spiritual talents that we can use. Some people use them for benefit, some people use it to damage others, and it all depends on your intention. And I feel like it's something that everyone should explore if they're interested. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all about open-mindedness and seeing,
Absolutely.
trying, does it work for me or
Right.
doesn't it work for me? I did try yoga, and believe me, it did not work for me. I was that guy that you hear in the back of the class,
It's
where
that little moan in the back, that painful.
like, okay. but the other things worked. So
Yeah.
I
And that's a
think,
great point, Eric, because when I do my sessions, I try not to mix things, but I do use tools from both when clients are open, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more of an opportunity for me to use my therapy skills in Reiki than for me to use Reiki in therapy, because those are two different things. And if a client in therapy is not open to talking about spirituality or spiritual gifts or alternative medicine, it's not like I'm gonna impose it. Like, I'm not gonna put that on them unless they bring it up, because it's not for everyone, right?
yeah, that's interesting. Well,
So-
go ahead, Liz.
I was going to say, how does someone request your services?
Yeah, so I do have a private practice, and it is called Sana, which means heal in Spanish. So Sana Holistic Healing, you can find me on Instagram or sanaholistichealing.com, and you can click on contact. You can send me a message, get sent to my email. I can email you back. Send me a direct message on Instagram and we can make things happen. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, then I would open it up, to open mic.
Yeah.
Our immigration lawyer has, immigration right now is a really hot topic, and he warned me that it was a 50-50 here coming on the show. He's been getting calls from left, right, and center. We actually just spoke about a case that we wanted to speak about today, about a DACA recipient which actually participated in one of the peaceful demonstration, and she got arrested, and they want to actually lift her DACA status, and deport her, which personally I think is not right, but we live in that weird world, where right now we're in that gray zone. We don't even know what is right and what is wrong. But for DACA recipient to, I think, participate in a peaceful, protest, he should have that right. That shouldn't be. But anyway, let's turn that page for right now, and let's go to our open mic. Do you have questions for each other or to us, please? Shoot.
Let's see.
Yeah, I love when you look to the sky and go, let's see.
Well, you know, I was going to ask, but the lawyer is not here. That was one of the questions I was going to ask him. If you're wearing a mask, how would they know? I mean, to come to you, to, you know, how would they even know? To come to a person and figure that out, that, you know,
Profiler.
I don't understand that one.
Yeah.
But
You know, what can you do?
yeah. Okay.
I have a question for Carla.
Sure.
So do you use Reiki in your consultation services when you're talking with in therapy, I guess?
In therapy. So
Yeah.
I have used some tools. I have had people specifically be like, I want to do Reiki out of nowhere. So I don't introduce myself as a therapist, as a Reiki practitioner. It only comes up when people mention it, right? So I have had sessions where people, for example, will tell me, you know, things happen to me and I don't know if you're gonna think that I'm crazy, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, you know, try me, right? And so they might say that they feel things, they might say that they see things, they might say that they have been contacted by past loved ones or what have you. And, you know, there's a difference between having a mental health illness that has hallucinations, for me, in my personal and professional opinion, than to have someone who has spiritual gifts. So when that happens, I try to dive into conversations with them, and then I introduce myself as, you know, having some experience with spiritual approaches. And so that's when I will bring it up. Or I have had, like I mentioned, people deliberately just say, I want Reiki and I don't know, you know, where or how, and I can offer resources because I can see them for both. Unless it's in my private practice, not in my full-time job. And so I am able to maybe help them with affirmations and learning about their chakras, or I am able to offer some information about, you know, rituals for them to maybe practice at home for like energy cleansing, or you know, learning about spirituality and healing practices, or whatever they bring in. I open the conversation because they're wanting to learn about it, and in my knowledge, that really helps with their mental health and their wellness. And so I go with it. Yeah, I try to offer as much information as I can. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, you do it. That's wonderful. That's, you know, unfortunately in this country, and I'm not making a political statement, but we don't give enough credence to chiropractors, because I believe chiropractic, you know, keeping the spine, because there's all those nerves that come down through the spine, right? That's to keep your body and all aligned. I'm a big proponent of that. I'm a huge cyclist, a bicyclist. So I like to have, you know, of course, the lower part of your body, you know, you use for cycling, but I'm also a proponent of mental health. And unfortunately, until just recently, we haven't really been focusing on mental health and those other services that are required to keep our bodies in fine tune, right? I think that when I suffered an injury, a very devastating knee injury, I tore my ACL playing a sport, and I sought out an alternative medicine technique before I went into surgery. And so I actually think that it actually helped my recovery, and it helped the whole process. And the surgeon was amazed that I didn't have more swelling than what I did. And I'm like, well, never said a thing. But anyway, I do think we need to have more emphasis on mental health, right? I think, you know, especially with some of the trauma with the Me Too movements coming out and all of that.
Yes.
You know, and unfortunately there's this date rape drug that is out there. So yeah, I think you're very good. So,
thank you.
Antoinette, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So you get to interview Hollywood stars.
Right.
I want to know, which was your most fun, outrageous interview that you've had in your career?
Oh, wow. Gosh, there's a couple. I would have to say Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh,
She was
really?
gonna say that.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal, because you don't know, he's very he has a great sense of humor. He likes to play jokes. He photobombed me like 3 or 4 times when I was talking to people, like making weird faces and doing this and stuff like that. But just a gentle giant, right?
Yeah.
And off camera, he was just engaged and interested in what I was doing. Just telling me all kind of people to reach out to. Like, he was just not what I expected, right? Like the opposite. But I would say he's the best one. Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like 7 foot something. How tall are you?
Yeah, I'm 5'8", and I was looking at him like that.
You're 5.
Yeah.
That's tall for a woman, right? So
he's a giant. Like, I was like, oh my God, he's like at least a foot taller than me. I'm like, Jesus. Well,
that's great. I have a lot of admiration for him, not only as a basketball player, but as a human being.
Yeah.
I think he's given a lot back to the community. And I used to live in Miami. So, I'm lived in Florida for many years, and, he's been such a great contribution to the community there in the Miami-Dade area.
Yeah, he almost lost his son, so it humbled him a lot. So he's a lot different.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But he really gives a lot, Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of stories about interviewing people, but that's probably the one that stands out the most,
It sounds like there's a book in the making.
Yeah, my mom has said that to me because I've done so many things in my life. Like, I've been a dancer before I tore my ACL, and I've been commercial actress. I've been an insurance agent. I've been a broker. I've been a fashion designer. I've been a stylist. I've been everything, So,
awesome.
Yeah, but what I enjoy most is pursuing my dreams of having my own talk show. That's what I want the most.
Good for you. That is awesome. And I think you're going to get that dream. I just have a feeling.
I know. I pray. I believe in prayer. I pray all the time. I'm like, oh my God, I can feel it. It's close. I just can't give up,
There you go.
And not give up.
You gotta save this interview and say that we know you.
Yes.
Right.
Oh no. Well, I have to say, coming from Europe, there's something that many people in Europe, and I say even in most countries, don't understand. Very often, like as a European, usually you have to make your mind up between you're 16 or 20 years old, what you're going to be when you're 50. And then you pursue. You do your studies to do that, you do this to do that, and to go and then suddenly change your career is very, very unusual. I mean, even for me, I worked for 38 years in the hospitality business, and then I retired and then decided, oh my God, I start doing real estate and business brokerage. That is something that is nearly impossible to do in any other country. I mean, yes, we have our problems. We have them. They're there, and right now they're really exploding and flying around our face. But it's also, a moment of reckoning. And I think that America has been very good in surmounting problems, that's why I think we still have a very, very positive outlook into the future. And even when I met Wendy and we spoke, it was really about that energy. You don't have to stop. You can just continue and do it. I feel sorry for people which lose that lust, of wanting to live. And I hope that, all of us in our own, can contribute to that, to bring those people back to, this is not the end of your life.
Right.
Some people get discouraged.
Well, yeah, but I think we all had those opportunities in our life to get discouraged.
Right.
It's just showing to people, that no, you should not. And yes, life is damn hard. We all know that, but then there's this rewarding moments which just, you're like, oh, that's it. We just live for that one moment, that minute of joy and fun. And yeah, I think that's what it's about.
Mhm.
That's why we don't want to be a downer show. There enough out there. It's like, hey, look at the problems, see how to overcome them and not how they drown, yourself. Yeah, and sometimes my English just goes to fritz. It's okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Thank you.
Well, I cannot imagine the Eric and Liz show being a dinner show. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I love it. It's been quite interesting.
Oh,
Yeah. It has.
well,
I have a question for you, Carla.
Sure.
Is that okay? Do
Sure.
you do couples?
You know what? I haven't worked with couples in a long time. In my full-time job, we focus either on support groups or individual services, mainly because the couples are in an abusive relationship, right? So I haven't really done that in a long time. I have worked with families that need support in understanding how to support either their child or their relative that went through sexual assault or rape. But it's been a while for couples, to be honest. I don't even know what that looks like anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's something that, it can happen for sure.
Liz, why? Did you have anything you wanted to share with us?
Oh no, I was just asking her. I was just asking her if she did Reiki for couples. You know how they do.
Okay, so when you say couples, I think about therapy. Yes, but separate. Everything is individual. It's an individual process. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. You can come over anytime, Auntie.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Well, is there anything else that anybody? Go ahead.
I don't know if you know, Eric, but Mexico has the #1 Cabernet Sauvignon, since I saw you drinking wine, in the world right now, 2020, from Mexico. So you might want to try that on your wine collection. I can send you the information.
Please do that. I'm always very curious, and that's something that I totally holding on to. It's the cooking part, which I love, and the wine pairing.
Yeah.
With it.
So if you ever have an opportunity to go to the wineries in near Ensenada,
Valle de Guadalupe. Yeah.
Valle de Guadalupe.
Like
yeah. So that's some of the best wines right now. But I think the best wine, I just saw an article today or yesterday that there was a festival in France and they just named this Mexican wine as the best Cabernet in the world.
Wow, that's fantastic. I remember it was like, oh gosh, don't let me lie. 30 years
Don't lie.
32 years ago, when a Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa Valley, got best wine. And I mean, they made a movie of it.
Oh, wow.
It's well, people have to open up. And there are so many wines out there now. And unfortunately, I think winemaking has become more of a science. Before you had the vigneron, and he was basically a peasant who made wine. Now winemaking is really, they have laboratories and blah, 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 and, what have you.
Yeah.
It's okay. All good. I like it. Cheers
Nice.
to that, by the way.
Cheers.
Well, anything else? Go ahead, it's open mic now. It's the moment to ask.
I actually have to get off. I'm sorry, but I have to go because I have to be somewhere at 6:30. So, but
That's okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much,
Someone-
Antoinette.
Remember,
no problem.
there's that person who has to leave the party first so everybody else can leave.
Nice.
But thank you so much. This was great. I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
No,
Thank you for
and
your time as well.
Same to you. Thank you for
thank you
sharing.
for being on the
Yes.
show.
For sure. Have a good one.
Okay, you too,
Thank you,
Antoinette.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Wendy, Carl, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're
fun.
welcome. I'll be
Thank
in
you,
touch,
Liz.
Wendy.
Okay. No
Okay,
problem.
Carla.
Give me a call.
You too.
Okay.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.